Think about this. Think about what I'm saying to you. Virginia Giuffre, the woman who stood almost alone against the monstrous machine that was Jeffrey Epstein's human trafficking empire, is dead. Think about this. We are told it was suicide. We are told there's nothing suspicious, nothing at all weird about this. We're told, don't ask any questions. Don't ask any questions. Well, you know what? We're going to be asking anyway. It's that simple. Because as you know, my friend, history, common sense, and our own instincts tell us that when someone at the center of one of, if not the world's biggest scandals dies unexpectedly, mysteriously, with little or no forensic or police investigation, the very last thing we should do is just accept the official story. I think we know that by now. So let's rewind for a moment, shall we? Virginia Giuffre wasn't just another Epstein accuser. She was the symbol of resistance. She was the face of the survivors. She was the one who named names, big names. And she took on billionaires, royalty, politicians, tech tycoons, countries, intel agencies. She was the woman who said enough. She exposed the ugly underbelly of the elite, a world that to this day would prefer you just look the other way. In 2022, she settled her lawsuit with Prince Andrew for millions of dollars. Remember that? Remember Prince Andrew? I don't sweat. He has anhydrosis. I don't think so. This was a case that almost blew the lid off the establishment. A case that the British press, the American media, and even Hollywood tried to smother under piles of distractions and denials. You know how that goes? And now, barely 3 years later, at just 41 years old, Virginia Giuffre is dead. And the official report says suicide. No foul play suspected. Nothing to see here. Move along. Case closed. Move along, little doggy. Stop talking about it, except we won't move along. Because if you think this doesn't stink to high heaven, you haven't been paying attention. And I know you have. Now, here's what little we know. Think about it in this context. According to authorities in Western Australia, Giuffre was found unresponsive at her home. How? Who found her? What were the other circumstances? That's all we know. She was found unresponsive. Well, what do you mean unresponsive? There were no signs of a struggle. No witnesses have come forward. No, nothing. Hell, we got more crime scene photos from Gene Hackman and the dog and the mess. The police have already stated they don't suspect anything suspicious. Oh, no. It sound familiar? It's almost like the same routine. Well, it should sound familiar. It's the same fast-track, tightly scripted narrative we've seen over and over when inconvenient figures suddenly leave the stage. And make no mistake about this, Virginia Giuffre was inconvenient, real inconvenient. Not just to Epstein's old handlers, not just to Ghislaine Maxwell, who sits comfortably in a prison where, interestingly enough, she's said to be treated surprisingly well. With all her money in some Cayman Island account, just saying. But to an entire system built on secrecy, compromise, blackmail, and power, Virginia was talking. Virginia was writing. Virginia was reportedly working on new projects and gathering even more information about the elite networks that still haven't faced justice. Interesting? That's what was happening. Isn't that interesting? And every time momentum builds, every time the public starts to show that they're paying attention again, something happens to silence the voices that refuse to forget. We've seen it before. Seth Rich, Anthony Bourdain. Oh, yeah. Jeffrey Epstein himself. We've seen it. No questions asked. Don't say anything. And the list grows. And now Virginia Giuffre's name is added. Why? What's going on here? The media won't tell you the truth. They'll tell you, oh, no, it was mental health. She was kind of crazy, kind of wacky. They'll tell you she was overwhelmed. They'll tell you it was a personal demons. They will shame you for even daring to question. They'll call you a conspiracy theorist. There you go again. But let's be honest with ourselves. Virginia Giuffre was a fighter. She survived Epstein's horrors until the end, and she wasn't done yet. She survived years of smear campaigns. She survived lawsuits and threats and media gaslighting. She was a mother. She had children that she fiercely protected. She even warned in a social media posting, if anything happens to me, I didn't myself. And just weeks ago, she was posting about surviving a serious car accident, about cherishing every day of life, about hope. Does that sound familiar? Does this sound consistent with this? It's like Epstein before his dispatch. He was doing great. He was actually looking forward to perhaps winning his case. Doesn't sound like somebody who's planning self-harm. This wasn't about despair in her case. It was about hope. And yet, we and you're supposed to believe that out of nowhere, she decided to end her life? Really? No final message? No goodbye, cruel world? No warning? Just gone? And these weird, sterile facts? At a time when more and more eyes were starting to look back into Epstein's connections to politicians and bankers and intel agencies and entertainment moguls and big tech and countries and leaders. The timing is at best convenient for certain people. And at worst is something far, far more sinister. Now let's talk about Australia for just a moment. This is kind of interesting. This is a vast country, vast area, if you will. It's beautiful, but remote. A place where surveillance is high, media coverage is tightly controlled, and global elites often find refuge. See, Virginia had relocated there for safety, to rebuild her life, to shield her family. That's what she said. But did she really find safety there? Or was it simply a quieter place to be silenced, to be eliminated? Already, information about her death is trickling out slowly, carefully filtered, tightly controlled, saying absolutely nothing. So how long until the full investigation file is sealed? Immediately. Anybody on our side looking for it? No. There's a lot of folks in our government who are saying, thank God, just get rid of this, because the last thing they want to do is talk about Epstein. The only thing we hear from Pam Bondi is, we got some files coming up. And don't talk about the black book, please. We don't care about the black book. It's not about the black book. It's about the evidence. It's about who killed him and for whom he worked. But how long until any suspicious details are buried under bureaucratic jargon? How long in her case? How long before we're told it's insensitive to ask? Don't bring this. Now understand this. Pay very close attention. Virginia Giuffre wasn't just talking about Epstein. Oh, no. She was talking about and taking on an international system of power, political, financial, media, legal, you name it. She was a living threat to the narrative that says Epstein was a lone monster, just a rogue, lone wolf, not connected. That Ghislaine Maxwell was the lone enabler. She was the threat to that narrative. And that nobody else needs to answer for what happened to hundreds of young girls. That was it. They're the only ones. Giuffre was a reminder that justice was unfinished. Remember, as I said, she was actually looking to jumpstart this story, so to speak, to continue it, to be continued until now. And now, just like that, she's gone. If you're not suspicious, you're not awake. We owe it to her memory to refuse to be silent. We owe it to the countless victims whose stories never made the headlines. We owe it to the truth. We don't have to apologize for it. We don't have to ask permission. Because if this system is willing to erase a woman like Virginia Giuffre, someone with international visibility, with lawyers, with supporters, what do you think it does to the countless nameless, faceless victims who never even get their day in court? Virginia's story isn't over. It's just the beginning. Because every time the system tries to bury the truth, it sows new seeds of resistance. We will not stop asking questions. We will not stop digging. We will not stop remembering. Virginia Giuffre deserved better. And so does the truth. Stay alert. Stay awake. And never ever stop questioning the official story. Because as you know, history shows it's almost always a lie. But what do you think, my friend? What do you think? Am I being exaggeratingly dramatic? I don't think so. Please like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit that little bell so you're notified of live streams and new videos, and answer our questions that we have appended to this. Thank you for watching. And now comment as you see fit.